hook.
So we found a super primo day for pulling the old heady down and doing some repairs because there's not much wind around, so it's pretty good. But you can see, I don't know whether you can see on whether the camera picks it up, but you can see the stitching sort of, the sun's beating it up and it's pretty much vanished. So we're just running over all the stitching on the UV for the heady. So yeah, got a great day for it.
Oh, you crazy man. What are you doing out there?
Oh, you know, Baz's haberdashery.
It's dry over here in the cockpit. It's raining over where Darren is. We're having a pretty cruisy day. The wind's dropped out actually. What do you reckon? 15 knots or something? And it's been a bit thunderstormy. We had a bit of excitement which we didn't get on camera, and that was the heady jibed and lost the D-shackle that attaches it to the drum of the furler mechanism. Yeah, we can't run a repair on that just at the minute. Well, Darren's done a bit of a fix. He's been up there and tied it down, tied the foot of the headsail down. But we're pondering what our fix is going to be, and yeah, we'll let you know how that works out. Otherwise, all good. I thought I'd speak to you about what we look for when we are attempting a bar crossing. And yeah, today wasn't the ideal conditions for it, but obviously we made it out all right. But most of the time we would be looking for a breeze around about 10 to 15 knots in the direction that's behind us, and we would look to be crossing the bar at slack water, coming on for slack water at high tide, so that if you do manage to touch the bottom accidentally, you're going to get slightly lifted out with the remaining of the high tide. And also when you have an incoming tide, the bar will tend to be flatter. So what you're looking for is a time in the tide, and generally it's when you have an incoming tide and the incoming tide meets the incoming water, and it makes the crest of the waves flatten out, if that makes sense to you guys. Does that make sense to you?
It does in amongst all you.
my jabber. It's cold this morning. Chilly winter is coming. I'm really glad we're going to be out of here into Newcastle in another few weeks. Rightio, so McDazzle has been McDazzling the furler. So let's go and see what he's up to. He's been grinding away and making new parts and pieces, so we'll check it out, eh? What's going on, my love? What have you been doing?
Well, this is our little culprit from yesterday.
Let's have a look.
It used to have like a little D shackle on there. You can see this D shackle, he used to go through there.
Yep.
And you can see how the sails all slipped up the foil there.
Yep.
So what I've done to fix this little problem up, I've got a bit of aluminium. And this was a piece of aluminium I had from another project, so I've just manufactured a little piece. I've just cut a section off him, and that's what I've come up with. That's the end result.
So the D shackle's going to hook into that bolt hole.
Pretty much, it's going to go in through there.
Okay, brilliant, eh?
So yeah, that should fix our problem up for the second.
McDazzled it yet again.
Oh, I can't believe it.
High five! This actually speaks to one of the questions that we get asked by, we got asked by one of our viewers. Do you guys get sick of doing all your maintenance and constantly fixing things on the boat? What's your answer, babe? Yes!
Yeah, yeah, I love fixing things.
But it's actually really cool because it makes us think out of the box, and it really makes us challenge ourselves to come up with new and different ways to make improvements on the boat. This life is constantly changing, the weather's changing, it's a very dynamic life. We never really get a day that's the same or a day that's predictable. So yeah, that's one of the really cool bonuses and challenges of this cruising life.
Think of the destinations.
So there you go, thanks for asking that question.
We'd made a quick stop over at Bribey Island to meet one of our long-time followers.
Hey, young people.
We did get the right house, awesome!
Before sailing on to Brisbane to make final preparations for our kick-off to New Caledonia. Or so we thought.
Okay, so our next question from our patrons was, what is the most troublesome time you've had on board?
Well, funny enough, you should say that. We're having one.
I think we're having our most troublesome time on board right now. Let me explain. So we are sitting in a very open anchorage. It was sheltered when it was in the north, but now that it's gone to the south, we're very open, and we're being hit by side-on swells. So we'll go to up anchor this morning and take off and find a more safe anchorage to be to, more safe and comfortable anchorage to be at. And our anchor is firmly caught on something, and we have tried for about a good couple of hours this morning. We've been revving backwards and forwards and all sorts of ways around, trying to gather up as much of our anchor and break it loose as we can. And yeah, the situation is slowly deteriorating. The winds are getting stronger, the swell is getting bigger, and we have since been told by a local that we are very likely hooked up on an old mooring that hasn't been cleared away. So these things do happen while you're cruising.
They do, unfortunately, but anyway, it tests us.
It's all part of the fun and games. Okay, so I'll just catch you up on where we're at. We've got a diver who's come to help us, and yeah, because we just can't get down to it for long enough, we can't see what we're doing, so he's come to help, which is awesome, and a couple of other people. Always draws a crowd when there's something going on in an anchorage. So yeah, the wind has increased to about 20 to 25 knots, and we're currently wind against tide, so in this channel the tide rips quite a lot, and so we're wobbling all over the shop. But that's okay, we've got this diver we've just mowed it up, so we've tied off all of our anchor chains. So in the end we're going to drop all of our anchor chain into the water. The diver's just going to go down at the moment to check to see what's going on and how badly or how exactly the anchor is lodged in this supposed mooring and all of its prior encumbrances. So he's going to go down, then he's going to come back up and tell us what we need to do. We're prepared to drop all of the anchor and anchor chain. We have our secondary anchor ready with some chains so that if we have to motor off and anchor elsewhere. But it's likely that we're going to have to come back and he'll tie a line on whichever part of the anchor that he thinks we can pull it out with, because it's our storm anchor, remember. It's 105 pounds, it's really heavy. I very much doubt that he's going to be able to move it by himself. And then we will come at it from whatever angle he thinks is best with Sarean and try and move it ourselves. So that's as far as I got right now.
Okay, so we've got a little plan going on. Our old mate Dita, the diver, he's going down to have a look. But we've got a couple of other little plans going on that 15.
How much sign about?
15.
How much?
15. Yeah. Yeah, so Dita the diver, he's going down to have a bit of a look to see what we're up against. But we've got a couple of little plans, because once he has a look at it, we've probably got to drop our chain. So we've got a line on the end of our chain with a fender on it or a float, so we can just drop it, get the strain off it, so he can pull the chain back to the anchor and maybe untangle it. We've also got another big line here for Dita to maybe hook onto the back of the anchor if we need to scull it out backwards. So there's a few little plans going on here at the moment. Hopefully one of them works.
Righty, I think it's crossed, everyone. Power of positivity. It does work. Give it to us.
You tore that concrete block in half with another chain which you hooked.
So we're hooked on a chain.
Good.
We have broken the mooring block in half in our attempts to get it off, and we're now hooked up in another chain. And he thinks that he's going to be able to undo the chain from the mooring block and then release the whole anchor. So it's going to be a bit of a timing thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film it because we're going to be so busy. But yeah, he's going to try and release us, and hopefully we can motor off without hitting his vessel or catching any of his diving lines, because he's on a hooker. Anyway, what we're doing is putting the hooker lines up on the deck, and if we move off, then we'll just drop them off, hopefully out of his way. So we shall see.
Thank you for watching. To help support the making of these videos, consider becoming a patron, where you can connect with us in real time, access our consultancy service, and experience sailing with us. Check our website for more, and subscribe to get notified of our next adventure.